Season 4 of Columbo may be the series' finest, a lineup full of outstanding 90-minute episodes. But hidden right at the end comes this 70-minute gem that's one of the season's, and therefore the show's, very best.
Get on with it.
Today on Echoes of Columbo, we're hypnotized by the first one with George Hamilton, A Deadly State of Mind. This is one of the few 70s episodes I remember from my childhood.
So?
And no wonder, it's a treat for the eye, full of brilliant color, light and shadow, beauty and glamour. The production has a slick, cinematic look and feel, from the Institute with its lined floors and sparkling computer lab to the theatrical Donner living room. In nearly every scene, there's unique visual interest. Director Harvey Hart helmed several standout episodes, and he fills this one with unforgettable set pieces, depth, and creativity. When you combine his talent with writer Peter S. Fisher, who has a long resume of excellent entries, and producer Everett Chambers, whose experience goes all the way back to season 1, you have maybe the most talented creative team to helm any episode.
You have no proof, do you?
The episode is a masterclass in efficient storytelling, not a scene wasted, the cat and mouse game intensifying until a perfectly written call out the killer moment.
Am I to presume that I'm currently your chief suspect?
I'm not sure the suspect is a strong enough word.
While some shows can become simple dialogues between policeman and killer, this one is peppered with fantastic supporting players, including some characters that appear simply to flesh out the episode's world. Special mention goes to Bruce Kirby in his second appearance as Sergeant Kramer, and to one-scene wonder Fred Draper as David Morris. The next time you'll see Draper in the series, he'll again be called upon to make a dramatic entrance to the final scene, with Sergeant Kramer standing by. A Deadly State of Mind also solves one of the series' early problems, the crime of passion stories where the killing is spur of the moment and we see a cover-up rather than a meticulous plan. Peter S. Fisher solved the same problem in another ingenious way in A Friend Indeed. In fact, you won't see another unplanned primary murder on the show until Ashes to Ashes, 23 years later. Here we might be tempted to sympathize with Dr. Collier, given the circumstances and the victim. Stephen Elliott, by the way, appears again in Grand Deceptions, where he again plays a husband whose wife is unfaithful to him with the murderer.
Congratulations, that it?
But Collier is revealed to be so egotistical, so manipulative, so concerned with his own success that he plans out a second murder right under Columbo's nose.
I deny.
The party scene where Columbo talks to Collier's friends while he's really putting the doctor on notice is a masterpiece. The dialogue loaded with double meaning.
I think that the most interesting investigation is always the one that you're working on at the moment.
The scene before, we saw Collier framed by blazing fire. Now we see Columbo framed the same way. There's tension as we know Collier is about to make the fatal phone call.
What phone call?
We see Dr. Borden's increased suspicion of her colleague, and Falk's acting is some of his best. He knows something is going on. Speaking of Dr. Borden, her character arc is remarkable for a 70-minute episode. Her final confrontation with Columbo is one of the episode's highlights.
You're just gonna have to ask Dr. Collier.
Now I'm asking you. I'm asking you about a murder.
Notice how, leading up to that moment, she repeatedly coughs and clears her throat.
What are these?
I believe this was intentional. Would a perfectionist like Peter Falk have left those takes in otherwise?
Well, yes or no?
She's uncomfortable. Collier is her friend and maybe her lover, but she's come to the same conclusions as the lieutenant. We don't see her give Columbo the information he wants, but we know she does. Let's look at another moment. The mouse finding its way to the egg is contrasted with the lines on the floor at the Institute.
What for?
Dr. Borden explains the experiment.
We're measuring her learning rate. You see, there's only one way to get to the food. And last week we had the route marked out in red. Today we changed the route to green. But she seems to be determined to follow the red line. So she's not getting very far.
What's it mean?
You tell me.
Okay, in the next scene, Columbo deconstructs Nadia's story, and we can see Collier realize he's dealing with a serious threat. It's here that he decides Nadia has to die, taking a different route to reach the same goal. And you can also see that when Collier states he would stake his reputation on it,
Stake my reputation on it.
Columbo's slow-motion nod reveals his realization that perhaps it's Collier, not Nadia, who should be the focus of his suspicions. So what we see is two mice with high learning rates, each taking a different path to the egg. Not cheese, which is simply a stand-in for a goal, but an egg, symbolic of a mystery, something hidden that's revealed. It's this kind of brilliant nuance and thematic unity that elevates the episode. By the way, Dr. Collier's book that Columbo's reading is called The 6 Lives of Martha Pollock. This could be inspired by Sybil, a 1973 novel made into a film in 1976, in which a psychoanalyst uses amobarbital and hypnosis
Hypnosis, I'm reading up on that.
to treat a patient with multiple personalities.
It's hard to follow.
Yeah.
The climax is what most viewers will remember about this one, and it is a great final clue. Although I wonder if it's really fair to give the blind Mr. Morris such a similar-looking brother. But for me, it's about the staging. For instance, I love the way Officer Hendricks points to cue Morris, and the way Collier's aggressive, confrontational approach
Is that it? That piece of paper? Have you got anything or not? Yes or no?
mirrors his attitude when confronted by Carl.
What do you want? Confession that your wife and I are lovers?
Modern critical consensus on A Deadly State of Mind is overwhelmingly average. Overshadowed by its flashier Season 4 brethren, this is an episode that deserves consideration for the top 20, and maybe even the top 15. An ingenious, ever-evolving plot, a slick, sophisticated killer, spot-on supporting performances, cinema-quality sets, the 2 blondes at the Institute, everything absolutely top-notch, unquestionably clever, irresistibly fun, undeniably Columbo.
Surely it is the most beautiful of all sports.